Yeah. Seen it. What a day, what a day. Okay, I'm gonna do better this time. I'm not gonna be out here all day. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do better. Gotta do better this time. All right, now we're 2 minutes in. We can start talking about something. And at this point, hopefully, people will start to trickle in and we can begin to have a conversation. Look at that. Look at that. Bring you guys up a little bit closer so I can see you all a little better whenever you do start sending messages. Womp, 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 womp. Hi. Greetings. Second attempt to do the Johnny Lawrence headband hair wave. I don't know what that is. I have no is, or I would give it my best shot. Hit me with your best shot. Fire away. I said, hit me with your best shot. Like the stream. Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid. It has been so long since I watched Karate Kid that I genuinely don't remember the movie all that well. I remember some of the big meme moments, but you know, I don't remember like a character's name if someone reminds me of it, but like I can't think of the old man's name off the top of my head. But if somebody said it, I'd be like, yeah, that's right, or no, that doesn't sound quite right. I tell you what, a movie I did watch the other day and that is stuck with me is The Menu, dude. I don't ask a whole lot of a movie. But I'm also the type of person who I can like a movie and enjoy it even if it's not that great and be like, okay, that wasn't a waste of my time, but it doesn't really stick with me, right? And I'm like, right? And I don't feel like I hate a movie like that, but I know I really, really like a movie when I just cannot stop thinking about it. Days later, and it's been like 2 days since we watched that movie, and it's been not on my mind constantly, but it's just been playing in a loop in my head off and on for like 2 days. Just an amazing movie. Alphabet soup? Bro, alphabet soup is a struggle meal. If you're eating alphabet soup, make sure you break up some crackers in that bitch, because it'll give you a little bit of a different texture. I was gonna start that today, no spoilers. What? The Menu or Karate Kid? What do you call a bunch of queers in a hot tub? Oh, okay. Now I get the alphabet soup thing. That's funny. You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. It made us smile. You know what? It made me crack a smile. Hey, Adelaide. Who is Adelaide? Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? Come on. There's 22 people in here. Number one, we've got a problem, right? There's 22 people in here and only one measly like. That means 22 people scattered right now have their phones open on my stream and have not double tapped the screens yet. What's up with that? Come on now. Gemma! What's up, Gemma? How you doing, Gemma? I was hoping you'd pop in. I feel like we haven't talked much lately because the fucking chats have been popping off lately, which is good, Great for viewership. Not so great for having meaningful conversations with regulars in the chat, though, because man, can it be hard to keep up with people's messages when shit's just going by and flying by, and shit's just wild and wacky and crazy, and my foot hurts like a motherfucker. Yeah, that sucks. I'm doing bad. No weed. Aww. I'm sorry. That is lame. Although, I will tell you, uh, if you're not above flying a sign, and you know what, maybe people are going to say that I'm scummy for telling a housie this advice. Maybe I am kind of scummy for telling a housie this advice. Whatever, I'm going to do it anyway. Should I? Okay, you know what? I'll tell my story, and then if you take it as advice, that's up to you. Okay. When I used to travel, right? When I used to live in the back of a van, traveling all across this great country, and exploring different parts of it, and making a living off of my guitar, my voice, and my sign, I had a sign that I would fly when I was just in a regular state with no legal weed, which was out of gas, which was pretty much always true, because living in a van, it's always a necessity. It's one of those signs that's great because either people are going to give you money or they're going to have you come with them to the gas station, which is great, right? Because then, you get to fill up on the gas tank, and then, you know, at that point, you can make up another sign that says, um, Oh man, there's all kinds of signs that we would use. I didn't like to use like I would use pragmatic signs of desperation, like out of gas, but I never did like um, I never explicitly included the word homeless in a sign, and I never explicitly included the words food or um, anything like that. But I did have a sign that said in need of weed. And if I was in a legal state, I would fly in need of weed in my guitar case. As a matter of fact, I think I still have the sign. One second. I might still have the sign. There's also a good chance that it's been taken out of the guitar case. I guess I do still have it. Whatever. Alrighty. There's a blast from the past, y'all. So back when I was traveling, this is the sign that I used to fly in a legal state whenever I was busking. The sign I would fly in my guitar case. Now, I'm sure it mirrors it, so I'll set it over here and give you guys a better shot of it. See here. There we go. Now it's not mirrored. So if you take that stupid flag down, sure, but whenever you take the fucking, whenever you take the Confederate flag down out of your fucking window or off your truck or wherever you're flying it in a way more publicly visible place than the wall in some outbuilding on my property, sure. The moment I can drive through the South without seeing 20 fucking Confederate flags, I'll consider taking mine down. Until that moment, I am very happy to show that you people don't make up the majority. You people meaning people who would say some bigoted ass shit like take that stupid flag down in reference to a pride flag. Anyway, stupid time wasted fuck. Now I have to get myself back on track. Motherfucker. Anyway, so that sign, this sign, was, my, god damn it. I swear to fucking God, it is so difficult sometimes just to keep this thing functional, even the slightest bit. Anyway, this is the sign that carried me through most of my traveling because I tended to stay in legal states. It was only when I was traveling from one side of the country to another that I usually had to deal with prohibition states. Um, but I would still fly out of gas, which is actually just the inverse of this sign. The other side has out of gas. So I would fly out of gas if I was like trying to get out of an area and that was genuinely what I needed more than anything. Uh, or if I was in a prohibition state and I didn't have the materials to make a funny sign, which is usually what I would try to default to if I had gas and I was in a prohibition state. I would try to find a sign that had some kind of humor to it, right? Like, will sing for food or something. Maybe not will sing for food, because I tried not to include words like food directly in any signs. I would draw like little pictures, maybe, of like a hot dog, but no mentions. There's no such thing as trans people. You're just patently retarded. I'm sorry that you find yourself in a position of disagreement with the entirety of the scientific community, my friend. Not just the scientific community, though. It's like anthropology and history and a bunch of other disciplines that say you're flat at, like flat ass fucking wrong. Like about as wrong as it gets. But pop your whip, bud. Whatever makes you sleep better at night, man. The truth of it is, you probably watch more trans porn than anyone else in this chat room. Do we want to just admit that little human fact right now? Because the statistics bear that out. The states that produce the most transphobes also produce the highest rates of consumption of trans porn. Wonder what that's about. Trump and science says otherwise. No, science says trans people exist. This is just fucking fact. Whatever fucking Christian science organizations that Trump has cherry picked to back up his fucking billion, like, honestly, you know what's happening with Trump? And here's the sad fucking fact of it is that his followers are way too stupid to understand what's like his diehard fucking followers are way too stupid to understand what's afoot. But Trump is basically an elderly man in the beginnings of dementia who is being led around like most politicians at the presidential level are, but I believe like Biden was, that Trump is being led around perhaps a little more than say a president like Obama might have been, or a president like Reagan. I believe he's being led around by his nose by a bunch of right-wing fucking like far right, maybe even pseudo alt-right think tank motherfuckers, and one billionaire that has a hard on for Trump because he parrots every single right-wing bullshit hillbilly ass talking point that he hears. And the fact that people the fact that a people who sat around for so many fucking years talking about how you can't trust a politician and about how evil politicians are, and basically have opposed the government in every fucking thing it's ever done for the last, I don't know, 20 years. Throughout the entirety of the Obama presidency, these people were acting like the government is the worst thing in the world. Like government itself is just such a problem, and God damn it, we hate the government. Politicians, you can't trust a one of them. You can't trust no politicians. But now that Trump is around, oh man, Daddy Trump has you guys in a fucking spell, doesn't he? You guys are all of them, literally all of you are just like, oh God, Daddy Trump, please, more, Daddy Trump, more, oh God, oh please, oh God, yeah, okay, it's okay, I guess it's okay. It's sad, dude. Who the fuck acts like that for a politician? I'm on the left, and you never saw me do that shit for Biden. Even Obama, who I actually kind of liked because I wasn't that fucking politically educated at the time. Even then, I wasn't a big enough dupe to be fucking sucking him off the way you guys do. It's fucking absurd. What? It's a vape. It's peach cola. They didn't have the flavor I wanted, so I had to go with one that I hadn't tried before, but I actually really like this one. I don't know who you are, but I approve of your stream's name. I love books, and this basement is a true treasure trove. Not the vape. You, what the hell are you? Homo sapiens sapiens, name of Phoebe, 26-year-old trans woman, denizen of planet Earth, chicken farmer, fast food employee, content creator. I'm a lot of things if you think about it. I don't really support modifications, but then again, I can't stop people from doing it. Their body, their choice. This is a mindset I think most people need to have. No, you fool. You're supposed to believe that people like me need to be strung up for merely thinking that we should have a body modification that would place us a little bit closer to how we actually feel about ourselves inside. How dare you think that we need anything less than hanged in the street? No, honestly, I love people with your position. I would say that I think most people probably do have that position. I think that this super vocal transphobe violent wannabe violent transphobe community online, I think is a pretty fucking small margin of people. I think at most it might represent maybe 10% of America, and I think that if we're being honest, it probably represents something like 5%. I think the vast majority of people don't give a fuck, and the other uh, half don't get the other half feel either like you do or they're actively allies and they're like, yeah, hell yeah, whatever you need to do to feel comfortable in your skin, as long as you ain't hurting nobody else, fucking do what you got to do. And that's how I feel. And I'm that way with a bunch of shit. People have asked me before, okay, so what do you think about that disorder where people feel like a part of alien, I think it's called alien limb syndrome. And my response has always been like, what's the problem in letting them get it amputated again? If it helps them, and if it improves their quality of life, here's the thing: human beings are too smart for our own good. It's just a fucking psychological fact about us. We are way too smart for our own good, and so ultimately, our quality of life is not really derived. Or I'm sorry, that would be inappropriate to say. Our quality of life is not fully derived from our surroundings and the environment we're in. That's important, right, to our state of mind, but ultimately our state of mind is what affects our sense of well-being, right? It's all psychological. So someone's quality of life might be improved by something that in another person would destroy their quality of life. So take a person who doesn't have alien limb syndrome, who's got both of their arms and works in the construction industry, right? They're going to be devastated if ever they have to lose their arm, because it's going to mean the end of their livelihood, right? It's going to mean the end of likely many of their hobbies. But someone who's got alien limb syndrome might actually benefit profoundly, might end up receiving a lot of benefit from having someone amputate that limb of theirs that they find so foreign. And as a result, their quality of life would be improved, right? Even though on paper it would seem like it would be less improved. For them, it actually is improved because the relationship they've had to this alien limb has led them to basically already avoid using it or to abuse it or in some way. Um, or they are already so they've thought about it, right? And they are willing to sacrifice that whatever little ability they feel like they get from that alien limb in order to get the peace of mind that they would feel from having it removed. And if it makes them feel better, I don't see what the possible problem could be. Are people going to suddenly start going and getting their limbs amputated because we allowed people with alien limb syndrome to be treated in that manner? I don't think so. If you do what the United States does presently and allow trans people to receive, like sex change surgeries and treatments to affect their secondary sex characteristics, if that makes people feel better, and it objectively does, and it doesn't hurt anyone else, I don't see what argument someone could possibly have against it, other than, what about the kids? Which is the dumbest fucking argument ever. Dumbest fucking argument ever. Because people will make endless apologetics for shit that they want to do around kids. But they think it's like an ultimate pone for anything that you want to have normalized in society, no matter how innocuous it is. The Bible states right here, bro, you have to rely on the Bible's morality because you have enslaved yourself to the fucking monogod. I do not. I am not bound by his chains. I don't give a fuck what Leviticus says. And for the record, neither should a Christian, because Leviticus is in the fucking Old Testament. And Jesus Christ came not to erase the old law, but to fulfill it. Jesus Christ was the last burnt offering. Jesus Christ absolved you of your need to actively repudiate sin. Jesus Christ laid out a path for you and a path for Christians that doesn't involve judging your fellow sinners, that doesn't involve repudiating them, that doesn't involve arguing with them. The path that Jesus Christ laid out was only through me shall you get to the Father. The only path to the Father is through me, is what Jesus said. He didn't say the only path to the Father is through berating Phoebe in her online streams. He didn't say the only path to the Father is through being a jackass in online interactions or being a street preacher. What Jesus Christ asked of you was to ask of his forgiveness, to repent of your sins, and to try to live as he did. And Christ was not free from temptation. Christ was not free from wrath. Christ was not free from anger. This guy sits in his mom's basement delusional. Oh my God. He's alone, no family. He's no father. Don't take this man's advice. Number one, I'm not a man. Number two, you know what? In fact, oh my God. I'm not going to ban you because I think your dumb ass is about to be fucking blown away. Not only do I have a family, I have an amazing family, a supportive family. I have a son. I have a farm. I am the only one of 8 children to return back to this property in their adulthood, and I will be inheriting the property as my parents become too old to. I mean, my father, frankly, is already too old to take care of the animals and a lot of the brute force work out here, which is why a lot of it has already started falling me. I have a job that I've been working for almost 2 years now. And this is an outbuilding, not a basement. So how's that for fucking assumptions? All right, I'm going to start cleaning out some of these rude bitches in here, because it's fucking pointless to have all these fucking dumb bitches arguing. Do you like Dr. Pepper? I do, looking for a friend. That's such a weird thing to look for a friend on the basis of. I'm sorry, but it is. But yeah. Don't most people, though? Who the fuck doesn't like Dr. Pepper? It's a good soda. Funny story, the person who made the New International Version of the Bible turns out to be gay himself. He takes info out of the original scriptures and makes his own. I mean, that makes total sense, considering that every single rewriter of the Bible does that. Like, you know what the irony of it is that oh man, Christians hate this shit. They hate it when I bring this up, because they all want to think that they've gotten some fucking unique view of the fucking Bible that nobody else has. They've all got the correct translation. You know what the fucking sad fact of it is? Every single modern Christian sect with any significant membership on the fucking planet descends from the Catholic Church. Either it is directly it's the presence of the Catholic Church itself, or it's Protestant churches. So Lutheran churches, Baptists, Anabaptists, Methodists, Presbyterians, evangelicals, and on and on and on and on. And they are all offshoots of the same fucking church. And you know what that church did in the fucking beginnings of its founding years? Does anyone know the words Vatican archives? Anybody want to find that for me in chat? Come on. What are the Vatican archives? Come on. What's in there? Come on. Hit me with it. Okay, I'll answer for you since none of you seem to know. The Vatican archives contain all of the shit that the Catholic Church used to decide what is and is not the Bible. There's shit in there that has never been revealed to the public, that likely never will be revealed to the public. And everything that every single modern conception of Christianity bases itself on is things that the Catholic Church has decided to release or published among the clergy in its earlier years. It all has the same base material, and the fact that it's been released and different scriptures published and different directives published and all this shit, all the political machinations of the Catholic Church and all the political machinations of the various Protestant churches that came out of the Great Schism, all of this shit leads to a modern Bible, which we have to fucking admit probably bears almost no resemblance to the original document. Right? We can surely admit that amongst ourselves, right? We're among friends here, right? The Bible that you read today probably doesn't look all that much like the Bible that was written down. I'm sure many of the plot points are the same. I'm sure some of the names are the same. But there is obvious fucking mistranslation, obfuscation, and political machination littered all throughout that book. And you can point some of it out just by reading different translations of the Bible, like that person pointed out earlier. Christianity was created by the Catholic Church to give the slaves something to believe in, easier to control with hope and faith. I mean, no, it's a little more complicated than that. So, but basically, I mean, this is one of those instances where you're right, but I think you're simplifying a little bit. So, Christianity was not necessarily created by some aristocratic fucking upper class for the express purpose of creating slaves or controlling slaves, for that matter. Christianity is an outgrowth of a cult that emerged from the following of what we now understand to likely be a number of Jewish scholars who all claimed to be the Messiah around the same 200-year period. And those cults who kind of coalesced around one specific hanging of one specific priest, those cults cultivated a belief system that took it basically took the Torah, which was already being pretty much used by the religious leaders of the time to keep the people in line and to organize the masses, so to speak. Well, not organize them, but really to keep them set against one another and to make sure that the society ran, how they wanted it to run. But this new religious system that was being codified in the wake of the crucifixion of whatever priest was claiming to be Jesus at that time, the movement that they were creating just so happened to have a whole lot in it that really benefited you if you happened to be a slave-holding Roman fuck. Things like turn the other cheek. Things like give unto Caesar what is Caesar, and give unto God what is God's. Things like, if a man taketh your robe, permit him not to walk away without also taking your sword. Man, sure does sound like it would inconvenience and trouble working class people, but doesn't that sure sound like it would be awfully fucking convenient if you're like if you're a Roman era warlord trying to keep tabs on and keep control of the Middle East? So that's why Christianity ultimately jumped from being a cult to being the religion of the state, is because and you can trace it back to one specific Roman emperor, if I'm not mistaken, Emperor Constantinople. Or not Constantinople, that's the fucking city that's named after him. Emperor Constantine, if I'm not mistaken, was the Roman emperor who declared Christianity to be the official religion of the empire. Now, granted, this was in the kind of like the falling days of the Roman Empire, essentially, but hey, Phoebe, what do you identify as? I mean, I'm a woman. I don't really like to say that I identify as one. It's like, I've known I was a woman since I was a kid. I've been able to live as what I truly am for the last 5 years, but I don't necessarily consider it like something I identify as. I identify as a leftist, meaning that I take a look at the things that I believe and recognize that they fall under a specific label. I don't think that's the same way that gender works, Rome tried to eradicate Christianity, right? Kind of at first. At first, Rome was not very kind to Christianity, because at first Rome was still basically in good with the basically with the Jews at the time. I don't know as much about the history of the Jewish people versus the Roman Empire, but I do know that that Judaism was the predominant religious belief of the people in the area where Christianity was spreading in its early days. And in fact, Christianity is an offshoot of Judaism, if you really think about it. And so Rome was kind of working in, hand in hand with the Jewish religious leaders of the time to fight against Christianity. But that didn't remain policy for all that long. Eventually, the Roman Empire adopted Christianity as the empire, or as the empirical religion, or the imperial religion. And at that point, that's basically, that's when the Catholic Church is born, baby. Everybody traces it to St. Peter and the, what is it, the Temple on the Mount or something like that? No. The Sermon on the Mount, some shit like that. Christianity is the creation of Judaism. Yeah, that's what the Christians claim, but Christians have a pretty fucking they have a long road to hoe with me when it comes to that shit. Both political sides are hypocrites and plain idiotic. You know what? You might be right, but man, do I hate that sentiment being provided with so little nuance. If you're going to say something like that, provide just a little more context, please, because there is a significant and worthwhile difference between the electorally poisoned, brain rotted dumbasses who vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump and people who are politically invested who may cast a vote for somebody here or there, but for whom voting is not the end all be all, and for whom the policies matter, for whom their morals matter at the voting booth. I think there's a significant difference between those two. And I think amongst people who take politics seriously, who actually take it seriously, who don't treat it like a football game, I think amongst those people, I don't think both sides are idiotic. I think that, I think, I've always made the argument that reality leans left, and as a result, it's kind of hard for me to find a conservative that I agree with a whole lot. But that becomes less true the farther away you get from, conventional American electoral politics. If we're just talking in terms of if we're talking like philosophy, you might be able to get me to even maybe agree with some conservative ideas. In fact, I know I have there's an impulse in me that I recognize is fundamentally a neoconservative impulse, right? And that impulse is I want America to be the country that basically that takes the world by storm again, but not through violence. I kind of, and I hate to admit it, part of me likes the idea of Leo Strauss's myth of the nation, because I do think it motivates people. I just think that a myth of nation that perpetuates war is a bad thing. A myth of the nation that perpetuates starving and suffering of any kind anywhere on the globe is a bad thing. And I think that a way better myth of the nation would be that America is uniquely to bring to birth a new way of doing things, a more equitable way of doing things, where we spread our culture and other cultures spread here and they spread with each other, and we achieve, as Kissinger once said, through all this turmoil, I hope to see a new peace formed of a global interdependence. So it's like if you get down to the philosophy side of, like conservatism versus liberalism versus like leftism versus, like anarchism versus authoritarianism, fiscal conservatism versus fiscal liberalism. If you get down to the philosophy of this shit, I think that we could probably have a way more fun conversation, a way more intelligent conversation, probably something that would drill down to the ways we actually agree and disagree. But nobody wants to do that anymore. We all want to fucking sit and jerk off about who we voted for or who we didn't vote for. Also, there's 83 people in here. Why are there not at least 20 likes on this video? Come on now. What are we doing? I asked the one live if they think the Bible was psychedelic rituals. Maybe. Do I think the Bible is influenced by psychedelia? Definitely. 100%. The burning bush is a mushroom trip. 100%. The burning bush was a DMT trip or a mushroom trip. I genuinely believe that. Now, Revelation, I think that's a really good candidate for holy shit. Were they like on were they did they all have like ergotism when they were writing this shit or something? And I mean, it's very easy to see why people make these assumptions about the Bible and why they wonder. Honestly, I know it sounds kind of, you know, deflating. Probably sounds even more deflating to Christians, but the sad fact of it is that the Bible, more than anything, is probably just a collection of old oral histories that were in the process of dying out that people finally decided to write down. Honestly, a lot of it's probably got very little to do with psychedelia at this point, except for a few stories, like I said. A lot of it's probably just like genealogies and old oral traditions that were, for years, just passed down speaker to speaker that started to die out, and people were like, we better write this shit down. Answer my question. Why is there and why is it necessary for 73 plus years? Dude, I feel like this is such a weird fucking. I feel like this is such a weird misdirect of a question. Because who the fuck is out here talking about 73 genders? I feel like y'all read some fucking BuzzFeed article from some SJW somewhere and then just appended that to the entire trans community. Number one. Number two, gender is objectively a social construct. I'm sorry that it's not a fucking fun truth to learn, but it is. So, in theory, yes, a society could have 73 genders. Now, in practicality, I don't see how such a thing would ever evolve unless we're talking maybe about a global society. If we're talking about a global or maybe even an interplanetary society, then I could see 73 genders existing across that society. Sure, why not? After all, gender is merely a collection of behaviors associated with someone on the basis of their identity or the basis of their assumed sex. Mainly on the basis of their assumed sex, which is why trans people try so hard to pass, right? Is because if people look at us and they see the sex that we are, um, like if someone looks at us and their brain automatically assumes like the correct gender that we actually identify as, which again, I don't like that terminology, but I really don't know what else to use, in that context at least. Um, if someone sees us as that, right? Ultimately, that is, I mean, number one, it's like, I don't know how to put, I don't know how to put it. Try not to. Anyway, if someone sees us as the way we want to actually be seen, it's relieving, right? It's like psychologically cathartic for a trans person to be recognized as the gender that they live as. But ultimately, we would all be better off if we didn't have this fucking oppressive chain of gender around all our necks. So rather than saying there's infinite gender, I say that there's no genders. How about that? Not really. Like, right now, gender is a big thing. Right now, gender is a big deal. Right now, everybody has to look at everybody around them and be able to assume whether they, whether they have a dick or a pussy, B, whether they like the fact that they have a dick or a pussy, and C, whether they admit the fact that they like or dislike the fact that they have a dick or a pussy. Right now, that is super important to our society. I think as we become more technologically advanced and less caveman-esque, that will become less and less important. Because ultimately, that's all gender is. All gender is, if you really strip it down, is an assumption about a bunch of behaviors that someone should have based on their outward appearance. It's an assumption about the lifestyle they should lead according to their outside appearance. And it's limiting. Even if you're a trans person, it's limiting. Like me as a trans woman, I find gender to be a limiting thing because it means ultimately to be taken seriously as a woman, like whether I was trans or not, this is just something women have to deal with. You kind of have to make trades, right? Or you kind of have to do things kind of with the understanding that people are going to be a little bit weird about it. Like if you're a woman, you're just not supposed to like any kind of mechanic work. Now, luckily for me, I don't. I am kind of fascinated by it. Like, and when I say mechanic work, I mean like working on dirty old fucking cars and shit. When it comes to like I think I could do that type of work in a professional setting, but I've never liked working on my own cars, you know? But there's other hobbies I could probably think of. I know I've probably got a couple that are seen as like traditionally masculine. And someone like if you're a woman, there's kind of like an impetus on you to not really be super open about that, or if you are open about that, you kind of have to accept that you're going to be fetishized a little bit and your male peers aren't going to take you seriously, and it's a whole fucking bag of bullshit that all fucking descends down from this limiting idea of gender that we've all decided to adopt for whatever unknown fucking reason. No, gender is the sex you were born with. No, that's not true. Gender and sex are different things. Look it up. Can't be changed, but everyone is free to live, work, play, fornicate, and die in whatever form or fashion they choose. Yes, they sure are. And I'm going to live, play, fuck, and die as a woman. Because that's what makes me happy. You can believe whatever you want to believe ultimately at the end of the day. But facts wise, gender is a construct, sex is not. Why are you built like that? The carpenters forgot some nails when they were putting me up. Gender is not a construct. The fuck? It is a construct. I know that's impossible for your tiny little smooth brain to understand, but contrary to popular belief, gender is not this fucking inscribed fucking stone tablet that was granted to you from Moses. Gender is a fucking construct. Gender is every bit as constructed as the fucking house you live in. Gender is every fucking bit as subject to societal drift and evolution as the human species itself. And the fact that so many people utterly refuse to just cope with this basic fact and spend that time instead calling people like me the fucking crazy one is absurd to me. The fact that there are so many people that are unable to do a simple fucking Google search and just see that I'm objectively fucking right is fucking absurd to me. The fact that so many people are in here arguing with me about this shit that is just so fucking obvious is fucking absurd to me. Trans people are not new. I know you people seem to have this impression that trans people were invented sometime around 2015 to fuck with you and to trick all of you into sleeping with men or whatever. But the fact of it is that trans people have been around for as long as people have been around. And it's really only in the last 100, 200 years that people have started to get really fucking offended by it. Outside of that, like before then, that shit was pretty much limited to a few specific societies, a few cultures on the planet. There were a bunch of different cultures on this planet, didn't give a fuck about it. Bunch of different cultures on this planet that were openly accommodating towards trans people because they recognized that it was a natural fucking habit of the human species. And the fact that there are so many fucking right-wing grifter pieces of fucking less than shit in here arguing with me about this very simple Googleable topic right now, it's laughable. It's laughable when you can just fucking go read the DSM-5. It's laughable when you can just go look up the fucking World Health Organization's recommendations for trans people. It's fucking retarded. And it all comes down, by the way, to this very common habit that a bunch of people have started adopting of picking your own adventure when it comes to the facts that you choose to believe about the world. It's all fucking choose your own adventure book now, right? So if the World Health Organization says some shit that you don't like about trans people because it doesn't fit your fucking narrative, all evil pedophiles that just want to trick you and little kids into uh I don't know, reading a book or something. If it turns scientific publication, then you just reject it. You're like, well, fuck it. That can't be true because it doesn't fit in with my bigoted fucking right wing, alt right fucking narrative. So I'm just going to dismiss that. And we're going to treat it like that didn't just fucking float across my eyeballs. I'm going to fucking act like I don't know that trans people are a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme. Beauty and the Queers. Well, what's the point of acknowledging more than two genders? I'm of the opinion that we should get rid of gender as a fucking classification, period. I'm of the opinion that we should stop assuming what someone should act like or dress like based on what's in their pants. I think we would all fucking be better off if we could just shoot for that. But I know we're all too small minded to even consider that, so whatever. Sounds like a terrible idea, I know. Brain too smart, can no understand. No, I'm just kidding. You're probably not coming at it like that, but you can understand why this conversation is so frustrating to me, right? Because when I look around, I see so many people struggling to fit in. There's a big male loneliness epidemic going on right now in America, and I've never struggled with loneliness, despite the fact that I was born with a penis and didn't start identifying as a woman until I was, I don't know, 21. And I did the math the other day. I've about like 60% of my body count happened before I came out as trans. So why was I never affected by the male loneliness epidemic? And now when I think back, well, what did I do differently? Well, I embraced all of the things that traditional masculinity, the kind of masculinity that is locking so many American men in rigid chains right now. I rejected so many aspects of that. I rejected the ass grabbing locker room bullshit. I rejected the I'm never going to acknowledge my feelings bullshit. I rejected the I'm just going to drink and smoke feelings away bullshit. I rejected the I only need one friend. I only need two friends. I I didn't go with every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry that had a fucking idea about what I should do with my life on the basis of what I was born with between my legs. And as a result, even before I came out as trans, I was never burdened by a fucking inability to get laid. I was never, maybe when I was like a teenager, but who isn't, Like, you've got to be extraordinarily lucky to be like getting laid if you're in fucking high school, like if you're like that's like popular kid shit. But As an adult, I never had any problem getting laid. I never had any problem making friends. I never had any problem socializing. What did I do differently? I allowed myself to feel. I allowed myself to be expressive. I allowed myself to say no. I allowed myself to say yes. I gave myself room to exist in a way I don't see a lot of American men doing. I see so many American men that you can just tell from everything about them that a good part of their fucking day, a good 50% of their day and mental energy every day is spent just on maintaining what they see as the basic upkeep for what they have to do to be taken seriously as a man. How is that not limiting? It is, but people don't want to acknowledge that it is because I think people like their chains. If we're being completely fucking honest, I think a lot of these people like their chains. They like the fact that they have to do this. And I don't really think it's that they like the chains. I think it's that they like the fucking comfort of knowing what to expect from every social interaction. They like the comfort and the comforting notion of being a quote unquote man and knowing what expectations to match. Because it means they don't have to work on themselves, they just have to be that. They just have to shoot for that. And that requires very little introversion, right? It requires very little self examination. And that's why men who are capable of self examination so often get criticized and accused of femininity and shit. It's because this fucking rigidly imposed idea of masculinity as part of the rigidly imposed idea of gender that's broadly kind of impressed upon this society is a bad fucking idea. A toxic fucking idea. There's a reason why the term toxic masculinity exists, and it's to refer to this exact phenomenon. So when I say I'm a gender abolitionist, what I'm saying is that I want to end the male loneliness epidemic by fixing the reason why so many men and boys in this country are fucking friendless and bored and living in their mom's basement with no fucking hope for an opportunity. And I'm also saying that I want to free the women of this country from the needless, ancient, misogynistic chains of servitude and emotional labor that they have been fucking forced into throughout the vast majority of, well, in fact, through the entirety of this country's existence and through, I assume, the entirety of the Western world's existence, because it seems to be a pretty common theme in Western society. That is what I hope to do with my gender abolitionism, because I think that you would be better off if you didn't feel like you had to wear a certain set of clothes in order to please everyone around you. I think you would be way better off if you didn't have to shave your head in a certain way or to cut your hair, or cut your beard, or shave or not shave. I think you would be way better off if you had less people telling you what to do just cuz. But some are fucking incapable of even thinking about what that would look like because they've literally been taking orders since they were living with their moms. Like, that's all they know how to do is live by other people's lights. Gender is just one expression of that. The pink and blue in the flag doesn't represent people who like kids. What the fuck are you talking about, retard? Whoa, you just used a slur? What, retard? Yeah, I'm autistic according to the dogma of the modern American, uh, you know, DNC liberal shill crowd. You're allowed to use that word as long as you were diagnosed with autism at some point in your life. So, I've got the retard card, don't worry. I don't think it's okay to use that language. Maybe it's not in your house. But you're not in your house right now. You're in my house. Well, not my house. You're in one of my outbuildings. I know, dude. Gemma, I fucking know. Dude, they will hate on trans people all fucking day long. Say the most hateful shit about trans people. But let a fucking trans person say the word retard, and suddenly these people are the biggest fucking social justice warriors you've ever fucking seen. Bro, it is the wildest shit to me. The wildest shit. Bro, shut up. Don't make excuses for saying slurs. Don't tell me what to do on my fucking stream, bitch. I'll say whatever the fuck I fucking please. You're not gonna come up in here when people have been spending the last hour calling me a freak and telling me that that the fact that I'm trans means I like kids or something, and then tell me I'm wrong for calling one of them a retard. You fucking concern trolling piece of shit. What do I do for work? Fast food. Whatever. At least it's a job, I guess. But really, that's not the work I'm proud of. The work that I'm proud of is, you know, I'm the next generation of my family farm. There's, I've got like 7 other siblings, and I'm the one that came back as an adult to raise my family here. And so that's that's the work I'm really proud of. And I'm hoping eventually that that's like my main gig. But it takes a long time to get back to that point after the crazy shit that this place has went through over the last 15 years. So till that day, I work whatever job I can get, Right now, that's fast food for the last year and a half or so. But I'm also looking into getting what will possibly be a very lucrative job at a factory. Kind of a factory, I think. It's like, well, yeah, I guess it is, yeah. It's also kind of like recycling adjacent, so to speak. What the fuck, woman with guy voice or guy and woman body? That is the perfect description of how people actually feel about me if they're being completely honest. Perfect description, really. Oh. What kind of farm? A muddy, swampy piece of shit farm. A piece of land that you couldn't grow a turnip on that you didn't raise the compost for yourself. But hey, it's land that our family owns that isn't mortgaged. So it's as good as gold as far as a farm is concerned. Do you have autism? No hate, real question. Yes. How could you tell? My complete lack of social cues? My strange but charming demeanor? Wait a minute. Dude, there's a fucking RTU. Dude, there's a fucking RTU bot in here. Not an RTU bot, but like, dude, there's some RTU troll in here. That's fucking crazy. Dude, I used to watch Review Tech USA back in the day. I stopped watching Review Tech USA when he stopped doing like long form videos just telling crazy stories from his life. I haven't really watched him since he became like a fancy streamer dude and the new set and everything. I don't really watch that shit now, but I used to watch RTU back in the day. Same. That's fucking crazy. Is that the Mexican flag behind you? Yeah, that's the one they adopted in 2022. Y'all remember when trans people put it into actually exact right. So in order for me to be taken seriously as a woman, this is what I meant by gender being a constricting thing, right? So in order for me to be taken seriously as a woman by you, it's not enough that I cut my hair in a feminine way. It's not enough that I wear a feminine shirt. It's not enough that I have a feminine countenance. I have to voice train. I have to wear makeup. I have to wear a super, super pretty haircut. I have to wear the nicest clothes possible. I have to sit up perfectly straight. I have to lose weight if I'm fat. This is the fucking restrictive nature of gender that you all are trying so fucking desperately to preserve. By the way, there's been like 120 people in here for the last 5 minutes and there's 9 fucking likes. We could be up to 20 by now. But apparently 81 of you are too fucking lazy to double tap the fucking screen. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's not laziness. Just come on. Let's get the likes up there. Let's see him go. I want to see him shoot to the moon. Who didn't finish high school and won't find a job? Who? 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 You know what we're going to see? You know what we're going to see right now? Y'all want to see something crazy? Oh shit. Non-retards mode. Smart people only. Look at that. Smart people in the house tonight. Only smart people in the chat tonight. And you're gonna have to subscribe if you want to make a chat in this chat tonight, night. Everybody shuffling. Do. Remember, like the live. Yes! Let's see these likes get to 20. There's still 83 people sitting in here. We could 100% be at 20 likes right now. So, Gemma, seeing as you're the only intelligent person left in chat, what's up, girl? Shit. I love how all the skibbities just kind of like sadly scroll away once they realize they're not getting, you know what I mean? Like once they realize they don't, this is the sad psychology of an attention seeker, right? See, there are some attention seekers myself that are willing to start our own stream and build up an audience so that we can actually like, you know, get that attention regularly, like on tap whenever we want it. And then there are some attention seekers whose own attention span is so fucking short that if they're not actively able to attempt to attention seek every fucking second of the interaction that they're in, They're not interested in the interaction. That's why I can set a limit of 1 minute for the amount of time someone has to be subscribed, and it still works. Because a lot of these skibbity ass motherfuckers are not willing to hit the subscribe button and sit around for a whole minute in order to be able to talk. That's why it works. I've already liked and subscribed. Well, good. That's good. You were the one who was talking about how I'm not trans enough for your liking. But the fact of it is that your idea of gender is what I fight against more than anything. Because I think the fact that you expect a woman to look like a certain thing is kind of fucked up and weird. I think the fact that you look like a man to look like a specific thing is kind of fucked up and weird. I think we'd all be better off if we could kind of just look however we fucking want to, you know? I'm just bored and trolling. No. No way. Do you think people should consider themselves other genders or just be feminine men or masculine women? I think people should consider themselves whatever makes them happy. Ultimately, as long as it doesn't like consider yourself whatever. As long as whatever you're considering yourself doesn't translate into you forcing someone else to do something, I don't see how anyone can possibly have some issue with it. Like, that's the thing, is like, fundamentally I'm a leftist, but a lot of my politics come right down to some basic ass libertarian shit. Bodily autonomy. What right does anyone have to tell me what I can wear, what I can't wear, what I can talk about, what I can't talk about, how I can talk, etc.? You know what I mean? Oh my god. Gemma, you can ban that fuck if you want. Feel free to take them out, put them out of their misery. Just feel free. Femininity and masculinity are on a spectrum, not gender. Femininity and masculinity are aspects of gender. What are you talking about? Why do you need to change your gender to do what you want? Because we live in a society that has rigidly imposed gender on anyone. And because if you don't, because basically if you just want to live how you want, and you don't expressly come out and tell people that you're trans, and you don't expressly the reason trans people exist is because you have imposed gender so rigidly on everyone. Not you particularly, but every fucking person that participates in the rigid upholding of gender is something we all need to see as important, is partly responsible for the fact that there are more and more trans people every year, because trans people are more than anything representative of a rejection of the rigid fucking idea of gender. The rigid idea of gender that is imposed by most of Western society. It's a reaction to that. If you weren't, if people were not prohibited from wearing certain things and liking certain things and having certain interests on the basis of what they were born with as genitalia between their legs, trans people probably wouldn't exist, or there would be way fewer of us, because it would come down only to people who feel body dysmorphia, which is different than gender dysphoria, because there are lots of people who feel very much gender dysphoric, for whom that doesn't directly translate to body dysphoria. So it's not like they look at their body and see something they're like horribly disgusted with and that they don't identify with. There might be aspects of their body that they are that way with, but there are trans people for whom the main reason they're trans is because they can't just exist as a gender non-conforming human. Now, I'm not one of those people. For me, I do have body dysphoria as well. But I recognize that this idea that we all seem to have in our head, that gender is this fucking super important thing that we all need to rigidly uphold lest society fall apart, it is entirely responsible for why there are so many trans people, for why the trans movement has become more of a fucking popular movement, for why there are more vocal members every year, because every year the people who are hardcore fucking like hardcore advocates for, you know, rigid traditionalist gender norms, every year they get a little bit more fucking annoying. Every year they get a little bit stronger and a little bit more cultural sway. And pretty soon we're gonna live in a world where you have to fucking abide by their fucking absurd ass rules about what you can wear and how you can be and how you can fucking think and talk and dress and everything else based on what you were fucking born with between your legs, which should not translate to fucking anything besides whether or not you're given prostate exams every year and whether or not you get pap smears and uh, oh, what do they call them, mammograms. I'm super skinny and I get told to eat more, eat a burger, I eat as much as I am physically able to. It doesn't make it right. What are you guys arguing about now? And it doesn't make it right to claim an identity you can only be born into. Whatever, little Lulu. Clearly, you have some ulterior motive for why you're so opposed to this. I hate this shit in argumentation. Dude, just stop arguing, little Lulu. You're just going to be banned. And you're not going to be banned because you disagree. You're going to be banned because you are not going, you're fundamentally just not going to be moved on this position. And arguing with us all like you actually have some fucking good faith interest in advancing the conversation is just bullshit, because you don't. You have an agenda in this conversation. You have some fucking reason why you see it as personally super fucking important that everyone believes in your fucking Bronze Age idea of what gender should be, and you're not going to be moved from that position. Do we allow people with, are we talking about fucking anorexia? Are we talking about anorexia? This is why I said to stop arguing. I don't want to have the conversation with someone whose mind is totally closed to it. No, I'm not reading any more of your comments, little Lulu. You might as well leave the fucking chat. I will not argue this topic. Thank you, Gemma. I will not argue with this topic. I will not argue about this topic with someone who is so fucking closed-minded, and I can just tell from the way that they're talking that they aren't even listening to the arguments the other person is making, because they aren't interested in the other arguments that the other person is making. They're interested in spreading their agenda, which is what they're constantly accusing people like me of doing, but it's what they're actually doing all the time. I'm also feeding the fire. I mean, I like having these fucking conversations with people that can have them and have an open mind about it, but I'm not going to sit here and argue all fucking night long with somebody whose mind is completely closed to the topic. Would you, Mark? You could just ban immediately. Well, but that's the thing. Is like, that's what I'm saying, is I like having these conversations with someone who's open-minded about it and willing to fucking have the argument. And arguing with your chat is great for views. I mean, I've been doing it for an hour and 25 minutes. We're sitting at 90 views. By the way, we're still only sitting at 10 likes. I've almost given up on you guys getting us to 20 by now, but maybe you'll fucking impress me. Who knows? Anyway, also make sure if you're not subscribed to the channel that you subscribe and hit that alert bell. Anyway, you just said you don't, though. Someone with that opinion is no. I'm so confused as to what you're trying to say. I'm not going to have the argument with someone who is completely closed-minded about the topic. I'm willing to have the argument with someone who isn't. I don't get what's so difficult to understand about that. I could tell from the way little Lulu was typing that she had no fucking interest in actually fucking having a conversation about it. She wanted to debate gender theory with me, and she wanted to I am not a fucking springboard for you to fucking make your case on. Not unless you've got a fucking case that I agree with, frankly. I'm not going to sit here and have a fucking serious argument with someone who is just never going to be moved on the topic because they've got the answer made up in their head already. There's just no point in arguing with somebody like that. And I think if this were any other topic, people would be in here agreeing with me. 7 more till 20. It says I've only got 11 on my side, but maybe. Phoebe, are you one of those rainbow babies? No, I was not born into the rainbow family. I do go to rainbow gatherings these days, though. But yeah, I like having the argument. Appreciation of facts isn't closed-minded. That's the thing, is the facts aren't on their fucking side. They've got a bunch of emotional fucking arguments and emotional appeals about why they weren't presenting a facts-based argument, my friend. They were presenting a fucking philosophical argument, and they were not coming at it with a fucking open mind. They were coming at it with an agenda. And I think if I were arguing with somebody, let me just ask you this. If I were arguing with some DNC shill right now, and I told them, you know what, you might as well just stop talking because I'm not going to have the argument with you anymore because you've clearly just come in here with an agenda as to what you want to be said and as to what position you're going to have when you leave. Like, there's not going to be any fucking work here done, so I'm not interested in the conversation cheering me on right now. But because it was somebody from your side, I'm an ogre. Only 2 genders and that's it. Hey, if you want to wear those chains, go ahead. I ain't got to wear them. Meth? Come now. Am I anywhere near skinny enough for a meth habit? Exactly. Come on now. With an agenda, it's no longer constructive. It's just an argument with an open mind. It's then a constructive debate. That's not even what I'm talking about. I mean, I guess it is, but that's not the terminology I would use. I'm fine with an argument. I'm fine with a debate. Fundamentally, the problem I have is with someone that is not interested in any of that shit. My problem is with somebody who is interested in having an argument or a debate or a discussion or whatever with someone where they have their mind made up already. They will not be moved. They are not planning on being moved. They're not planning on. And ultimately, the way I can tell is if someone answers the questions that I pose quickly. If they answer them, how squirrely they are with answering the questions, how much they answer questions with questions. All of this is indicators that you can use to see how serious someone is about having a discussion where they actually take your fucking opinion seriously. And I'm not interested in having a fucking conversation about politics and philosophy about someone who's not going to take my opinion seriously on the matter. Because if that's the case, they don't, then it's not about me and their interaction. It's about their ability to have someone with more fucking charisma than they do giving their arguments legitimacy by arguing against them. Fuck that. Fuck that. Come to me with an argument if you're actually interested in discussing the topic at hand, and if there's a fucking chance that both of us might walk away having learned something. Don't come to me with an argument if you've fucking decided what the topic, like, if you've decided how you feel about the topic already, and you're simply not going to be moved, and there's no room to have it argued, then don't come to me with it. Because I don't care to fucking I don't care to beat my head pointlessly and uselessly against a brick wall with you. I have no agenda, but the fact is there are two genders, male and female, and the community always falls back on gender and sex being different, which they are not. They are. Why don't you believe they're different? Can you explain to me how the fuck they're not different? What the fuck about having a penis makes someone want to wear blue jeans? Because I have a penis and I find them incredibly uncomfortable. Let's just go through this. You fucking idiot. Define gender? No, I asked you a fucking question. You will answer my question or you will get banned out of this chat. You have your next message better be a direct answer to my question. What about having a penis should make someone like wearing blue jeans? Banned. This is what I mean. I'm not willing to sit here and argue with a moron all fucking night long who is coming to it with an agenda, who will not be moved, who will not be argued with, who will not answer a simple fucking question when it's fucking asked of them, who is too fucking egotistical, who is too fucking convinced of their own intelligence to answer another human being's question when one is asked of them directly. I asked you a fucking question and I gave you multiple chances to answer it. I'm done with your stupid fucking ass. I'm done with it. Don't disrespect me by just blowing off my question and choosing to focus on something else. Yes, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot who refuses to recognize the literal, obvious, and completely fucking mundane fact that there is a difference between gender and sex. Everybody understood this 5 years ago. And then the fucking right-wing media started buttering all y'all's asses up about it. And now all the right-wing chudfucks care about it. But guess what? Now the Mexicans are on the fucking shooting block. And guess what? Us trans people will be off of it soon enough because y'all are back to hating the Mexicans again. You are so hypocritical and you are so fucking banned, bitch. I give a fuck. Are you telling the person you banned they're an idiot? Yes. You per a mental health case, you got serious. Another banned fucking idiot. Here, you know what? We're going to do an even better no idiots mode. 10 minutes. There we go. That was such a prime example of it. There are two genders, no conversation, no nothing, just spewing nonsense. Exactly. That's why I'm sick to death of this conversation. That's why I fucking bother with it. That's why I've just gotten to the point where more often than not I just ban people who are being stupid about it, because there just simply is not a productive conversation to be had with these people. They love to bitch and moan all day about how no trans people will ever talk to them, about how, oh, the left is just so intolerant, blah, blah, blah. But really, what they mean is no leftist will sit around and let me spew my racist, bigoted, xenophobic, or otherwise horrible bullshit in their fucking ears for hours at a time with no pushback. Wham, wham, wham. As if as if anybody gets that treatment. They act like they're fucking so polite when a leftist is that's sitting there talking about their fucking political beliefs. But if you want to see somebody get red in the face and fucking angry in public, go up to somebody wearing a fucking MAGA hat or a MAGA shirt and tell them anything leftist. Sex refers to the biological characteristics such as a penis. Gender is a social construct, just like race. Yes, exactly. And well, yeah, I mean, well, in race, I don't even know is the best comparison, because like race is one of those things where, um, like you can't you can't change races, because that refers to something that is an inexorable, um, you know, physical trait. But the idea, but they are stupid on the same lines, right? Transphobia and racism are both stupid for the same reasons, because they assume behaviors based off of a physical trait. They assume they assume a whole bunch of behaviors and a whole bunch of um, bullshit purely on the basis of what someone looks like. And so, in that way, I guess they are comparable. What about you is feminine? I don't know. Ask all the ask the dozens of people in this chat that haven't been able to tell after listening to me for like an hour whether I'm whether I'm a woman with a deep voice or a man that's dressing as a woman or whatever. Ask them. Yeah, just ban people that disagree with you. Sounds like a good debate. I never said this was a fucking debate, retard. Get banned. I will. This is my fucking outbuilding. This is my fucking smoking shed or whatever. This is the equivalent of my backyard. And if you're not welcome in it, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around the fucking subject matter. I'm gonna fucking get you the fuck out of here. Okay? I'm asking you because I genuinely want to know. And I'm giving you a blithe answer, because if you can't see femininity in me, it's because you're not looking. Here in Canada, you're going to get crippled by Trump for not becoming a state. Wait, what? Oh, we're here in Canada. We're going to get crippled by Trump for not becoming a state. I'm not sure what's going to happen there yet. Gotta wait till March. But at what point is he just going to go full dictator? I don't really think he is. I don't really think America's systems are weak enough for us to get fucked up enough to end up with an actual dictator. I really don't see America going that direction. Frankly, I don't think that that's how America's going to end up happening. Like, I don't think that's how things are going to play out. But we'll see. Ultimately, I think a lot of what Trump's doing is pretty in line with Republican visions for America over the last 50 years. But it is kind of rare for a president to try and engage in them so early on in the term. I can't see it in you. V-neck shirt is feminine. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Now, I was raised in the Mississippi school system, so maybe can't read that well. But if I could ever get this camera to focus in this, and I'm trying not to show my cleavage while I do this, but it's kind of hard. Maybe, just maybe, you caught the size tagging on there. Oh, man. Be gone. I will literally ban every dumb motherfucker out of this chat. It was a railroad truck. That's what I was hearing. There we go. Damn, I don't think I've ever cared about what a stranger was doing as much as this chat does. That's because you're not a terminally online retard with nothing better to do. And that's because this is probably the first time you've logged on to YouTube today, and you might have spent the rest of your day socializing with other human beings in real life that weren't just your mom. If I had to guess, oh, okay, shitty answer like I thought. You say that like you've been full of good answers, Naven. What has Naven been saying? Naven? What's the problem with it? What's the big deal? Naven, 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 Naven. Naven, Naven, Naven. Society hates us because of people like myself. Can you fucking can you elaborate on that a little bit, sis? Can you elaborate that on that a little bit? I think number one, I don't think society hates us. And number two, I think society hates us because of dumb fucks like you, probably. If you're one of these pick-me-ass bitches that literally spends their entire life trying to fucking rigidly conform to every fucking gender norm that's foisted upon you by every fucking stranger that you meet, you might be the reason why trans people aren't taken seriously. I don't shave my arms? Where the fuck do you see hair, dumb bitch? Dumb cunt? Attempt to be femme in the slightest. Get on HRT, voice train, shave your arms. Be like the rest of us. Exactly. Conform, right? Right? Conform. You're good at that, aren't you, dumb bitch? That's what you've been doing your whole fucking life, isn't it? Conforming. Doing everything according to other people's lights. Living your life according to your mother's lights, according to your father's lights, according to your boyfriend's lights, according to your teacher's lights, according to your fucking community's lights, according to everyone's lights but your own. Don't tell me what to fucking do. I don't give a fuck what you see is right for me. Worry about your fucking self, dumb cunt. Tell me I need to be femme. I'm literally sitting here. I'm wearing bangs. I shave my fucking whole body. I have to spend like 45 minutes a day doing it just to feel comfortable in my own skin. I have nothing but women's clothing in my fucking closet, but I'm not trans enough for this dumb cunt in chat. Fuck you, bitch. That shit just pissed me off way more than any of the fucking cisgender people in here fucking on me, because it's like, what the fuck kind of solidarity is that? No, you, dumb bitch, are why the fucking rest of the world has turned its back on us if they have. Because they look at our fucking community and they see absolutely no solidarity. They see pick me ass bitches trying to get points with them where they know there are none. They see fucking the complete inability for any kind of cohesive movement to spring up around the queer community because we're all too fucking busy trying to get clout on top of fucking each other up. Maybe we deserve the irrelevancy towards which we are steadily speeding. Man. Okay. Attention seeking. I'm literally just going to spend the next 2 minutes. I'm just going to spend banning every single attention seeking motherfucker. Why don't my messages send? Am I shadow banned? No, but you're about to be actually banned because you're a dumb cunt that is trying to tell other trans people how to live their lives and blaming them for all the problems of society, just like a fucking right-wing Republican would. Why? I just explained why. You need it again? Because you're a dumb cunt that is bolstering the points of right-wing fascists in this country against trans people because you personally don't see me as feminine enough. When the fucking fact of it is that you can look through the rest of this fucking chat and see dozens, probably thousands if we're being fucking frankly honest. If you look back through my lives, the last 3 fucking shows I've done, I got averaged around 1,000 views. So one of them was like 4,000. So there's a good of people, out of thousands, I would say a couple, 100 people were sufficiently convinced of my femininity to be really confused as to whether I was a cis woman with a deep voice or a trans woman. So apparently I'm feminine enough for them. I'm feminine enough for myself. I'm feminine enough for my female coworkers to refer to me with my fucking name and pronouns. I'm feminine enough for most people at work to refer to me with she, her, at least until they hear me. But I'm not feminine enough for you. And you know what ultimately it comes down to? The fact that you've probably spent a lot of time voice training and you consider that super critical to you passing. And I don't. Because I don't care to live by every fucking straight person's lights. I don't care to live by other people's standards. Especially when the fucking decision at hand doesn't affect a motherfucker but me. You're just banned. Once again. I don't care to fucking have a conversation with a trans medicalist. I will get on HRT when I'm fucking good and ready. I don't care that you personally don't think I'm a good example. I'm not out here to be a fucking good example for everybody. I'm out here to live my life as I see fit. And if you are defending a system wherein I should be oppressed merely for living my life the way I see fit without hurting another soul, then you are part of the fascism that I'm fighting against, no matter how much you dislike Trump supporters. You're just a fascist in a blue tie at that point. I used to be a trans medicalist, not gonna lie. I used to watch Blair White and everything. I never fell down that rabbit hole, but maybe that's just because I recognized that as a poor person, it was probably going to be pretty fucking difficult for me to regularly stay on HRT, and such has proved to be true in my life. I don't know, pretty hard to be a trans medicalist when you can't even get on HRT yourself, you know? That's a class divide we don't talk about enough. You know, most trans people that are like out here being fucking super trans medicalists, that is a class thing. That is, I'm rich enough to afford my fucking gender transition process to look exactly like a trans person's ideal fucking transition process should look. And if you're not doing all the steps that I should do, then you're just fucking, it's just an angle for people that are richer than you to fuck on you for not being as rich as they are. Yeah, spread the word through your acts. Exactly. Thank you, Al. Spread the fucking word through your acts. Bible thumping doesn't help a bit. You are not gonna fucking, you are not gonna spread the word of God to me by getting in here, yelling about God and talking about his wonders and all this other shit. The way you might eventually lead me to Christianity is if I start to see a massive movement of Christians. You know what I would have to see at this point? Because the problems have gotten so bad and so systemic that I really don't think that they could be. Did you see that the federal LGBT travel advisory page changed to just LGB? No. Also, deep veiny hole. Who are you? I don't remember giving you a wrench. Who are you, deep veiny hole? I wasn't saying you were actually yelling, or at least I wasn't trying to. I was just saying, like, Starla be wild. Starla be wild. Starla. Why does that name sound familiar? Starla, do you know me, IRL? Probably not. It's oh, okay. I was like, who the fuck is this? Why do they have a fucking wrench in my chat? Well, whatever. At least they're cool. You aren't going to convert anyone by just saying convert. Yeah. What I was saying is like at this point to believe Christians when they say what they claim they want about God and all this bullshit, what I would have to see is a mass movement of Christians going across this country, coalescing in Washington, D.C., and uniting to oppose fascism, uniting to oppose Trump's vision for the fucking world, basically. But I ain't gonna see that, so I've been here a couple of times. I don't know you. Okay, cool. That's fine. You just have a name that reminds me of somebody that I used to bump into at Rainbow Gatherings, I think. Old women grow mustaches and men get weaker. Yep. That's the sad fact of it is that old age equalizes us all, man. And then we're bone broth. Yep. Then we're fucking bone broth. No one accuses them of not being feminine enough. I know, dude. I bring up this point all the time, but nobody ever has an answer for it, so I just stopped bringing it up. I've kind of moved into the I'm just going to insult these people phase of my YouTubery, because it's just like so fucking frustrating to have honest conversations with people that, like I said, just are coming at it with an agenda. So it's like you tell them, okay, what about old ladies? What about people with PCOS? Like, what about people with hormonal deficiencies? Like, what about intersex people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And they just don't have an answer for it. They're just like, that doesn't exist. Well, here's all the articles proving that it does. That's all bullshit. Why? Because all this other stuff says it's not. Because this is bullshit. And you look at their fucking sources, and it's like the Christian News Network, Christian Science Journal, etc. Well, I consider myself a Catholic and I don't support the current administration. I do support your right to be who you are. I also think you're better than stooping to the level of trolls. Can't say I blame you, though. Well, I don't really stoop to their level, but I meet people where they meet me, right? So if you meet me with, like for example, I was treating that one person with civility and love right up until the moment that they stopped treating me with civility and love, right? The moment that they started applying a bunch of weird societal standards to me that make no fucking sense and that are completely hypocritical for them to hold, that's when I lose my respect. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'll meet you where you meet me, right? And once I get your number as a person with an agenda, a person with a troll ass fucking motive behind your actions and shit, once I suss that out of you, it doesn't matter what sort of pretty language you've used to couch your arguments in. I'm gonna get down in the dookie, and we're gonna fucking duke it out, because I don't like elevating people that have that kind of mindset. I don't like elevating them to the position of high-minded debate, because I think high-minded debate happens between two people that have open minds and a willingness to have the conversation and have it out, for whom the other side might ask a question and they might actually answer, you know? Aw, poor Gemma. I'm sorry, Gemma. Fair enough, you'll always have your dignity, though. That's something they can't take from you. Well, that's the thing, is like, not only can they not take my dignity from me, but ultimately I'm a very thick-skinned person, so I can respond to things with passion. I can be passionate on these streams, but it doesn't mean that I have to, you know, take it home with me, so to speak. No one would ever call me a man if I stopped shaving, cut my hair short, even, dare I say it, wear blue jeans. I don't know, maybe that was a bad example, okay? But you have to understand, growing up in the area that I did and the church that I went to, that's where that shit came from, ultimately. What you were seeing there was me kind of, it, honestly, it was a bit of, probably like a bit of a PTSD reaction, because part of me went back to those like childhood memories of the first time I realized I wasn't allowed to express myself the way I wanted to express myself. And the first way in which my expression was curtailed was being made to wear khakis and blue jeans, which I fucking hated. But I wore them all the way up, like, they were my main form of pants until I was a teenager. And that until I was like honestly, I was like 16 before I would start wearing sweatpants to school. Hated that shit. I'm just teasing. I know. I know. But in hindsight, it probably wasn't the best example to use, because I think At this point, blue jeans have been made pretty metrosexual for sure. I have a little mustache. I'm fab. Oh my gosh. Am I a man now? Yes, Gemma. You are 100% a man. You have a big swinging dick underneath your pregnant belly. Like, be so for real. Humans have body hair. No, Gemma. If you're a woman, you're supposed to be a fucking completely naked, hairless ape. And if you're a fucking man, then you're supposed to literally have like you're basically supposed to be a chimpanzee. Haven't you heard, Gemma? Every woman is a chaste virgin that's never had anyone touch them, and they all have like perfectly coiffed hair, and their body hair is all perfectly beautiful and smooth. That's the way it works. Don't you know that? Oh, you're laughing, but that's the way it works. Come on now. Come on. You know this shit. Women are like perfect angels that never stink. We never fart, right? We never shit. Like, we don't poop. We don't shit. We don't fart. We rarely even toot, right? We all smell like angels, you know? It's just, it's fucking retarded when you. Did you guys hear that noise? Ugh. Did you guys hear that shit? A woman tooting? I know, right? Wild. Scream. Yeah, dude. That's a noise you can hear in your teeth. Yeah, exactly. Dude, that fucking face I made. I don't know that I could imitate that on purpose, dude. That was just like core reaction. That's the type of shit you have to live with, living as close to a track as I do, though. Because I live out in the country enough to where they can go the full speed out here. So they'll pass by going 70 miles an hour. And if they got a fucking hot axle, I hear it. So the train you're hearing is the noise you're hearing is the train hitting a sharp turn, uh, probably a long one. There is a sharp, well, it's not super sharp, but there is a pretty pronounced curve about a quarter of a mile down the track from where I'm at. Maybe not even that, like an eighth of a mile down the track from where I'm at. It doesn't curve that sharply, but it does kind of round off to the side a little bit. You know, like, but it's gradual enough that I don't hear that every time. Like, you know, I only hear that every so often, which is why I think it's probably like an axle that needs greased or something. My girlfriend consistently blows the roof off the bathroom. I know, dude. Listen, as a person with a partner who is a cis woman, like, I can tell you, she shits, and her shits stink worse than mine do, if you can believe it. Maybe that's just personal bias, but they have literally made themselves gag before with their fart smell. I've had to leave the room before. I'm not kidding. And I love them. I say this with all the love in my heart, right? But they have made me leave the room before with the fucking smell of it. And I have to like leave the door open. I'm just like, oh my fucking God, bro. Insane. It's not about sex. It's about, well, obviously. Obviously. Well, that's kind of the point we're making, John D. It's what these women these days are consuming. Well, it's women and men, if we're being frank. Neither sex is, neither sex and no gender is particularly good about what they're eating these days. Although my family is trying to do better than some other families, but it also just depends on some people's natural biological makeup. There are just some people that are naturally kind of farty and their farts just stink like hell. I had a girlfriend that ate a lot of fruit and healthy shit, and her farts were damn near mildly pleasant. Yeah, I mean, I had a girlfriend that was the same way, that ate really fucking high quality food and ate a lot of fruit and everything, and her farts were not, they were not like pleasant, I wouldn't say, but they were probably the least offensive farts that I've ever smelled. Oh, yes, I'm a woman. I must only eat apples. Exactly, gentlemen. Exactly. You eat apples and strawberries when they're in season, right? And a little bit of whipped cream and iced coffees, right? We're allowed to drink those. We're allowed to have those. Um, Mandarin oranges, the little cuties, we can have those, but only small, dainty fruits. No bananas, they're too phallic. What are you doing with that banana? Pretending you're sucking a dick? I say this only because this is the internet, but I got smelly ones too, unfortunately. I know, it's shocking, right? Don't worry, you're among friends here. We won't tell anybody. I love this, dude. I love it when streams do this. And this really goes to show you the percentage of people that were in here that were actually worth a fuck. I haven't seen a comment go by in the last few minutes that pissed me off. And there's only 13 people in here. And there were like 150 people in here earlier. So out of 150 people, okay, less than 10% of them were worth having a conversation with. That's the internet for you. People consume shit and wonder why things are the way they are. Well, I don't think it's just what people are consuming that is doing it, but I mean, what we are consuming is like part of it's caused by the way we live our lives, and part of it, it's one of those weird things that I don't think people consider deeply enough, because we kind of look at our needs now as a society that has started to approach kind of post scarcity. We've started to look at needs as a different sort of thing. Well, at least many people have. I think those of us at the very bottom rung still have a very adept kind of sense of need, right? And we very rightfully identify things like food, shelter, water, air, things like that as critically necessary for a functioning society. But I think people have forgotten about the historical dimension of food and food supply in the way that our society has evolved. Like the fact that our society the way it is right now is a result of us conquering agriculture the way that we did. And it's an evolution that every step is built on steps that came before it, and has interconnected everything even more. So it's like demand drove innovation, that innovation drove further demand, that demand drove further innovation, and you got to the point where we are now, where people are eating McDonald's and fucking KFC and fucking Walmart shit all day, and wondering why everybody's got all these fucking stomach issues, why we're all so fucking fat. And on top of that, right, we're all working dead end jobs that are fucking anxiety inducing and that are miserable to be at. Even those of us who like our jobs, on the whole, most of us wish we were doing something else, right? And all of this shit induces in people, I think, just a kind of myopic sense of like, fuck this, you know? Yeah, if you don't like it, leave. Nobody's chaining you to the content. Don't be mean spirited, exactly. And with that, I gotta go. I will see you guys later.